Okay, so we're taking a look at exposure compensation here, and we'll start off with Yu Yun. And let me go back to the beginning here. Okay, I'm really happy, always very happy to see that you grasp the idea of how you can change your exposure in your camera um, by doing those compensations. Here we go back to this. And so sometimes whenever you're doing any kind of especially landscape work, if it might be a little bit underexposed, overexposed, um, but to be able to get a really good exposure by adjusting this exposure compensation can save you a lot of time and a lot of effort instead of having to go into Photoshop and do the work. So let's take a look at the landscapes here too. So very nice. Let's look at your ISO outside. Great. That's at 100. Perfect. I like the composition in terms of putting your emphasis over here instead of right in the center. That adds a nice little touch. Same thing right here. You have this the balloon right in the area where you get a really sort of nice dynamic compositional tension. And one of the things that maybe you could have done here is just frame it, maybe use the tree branches, maybe you might have moved underneath here to kind of just frame it a little bit, but beautiful colors. And same thing here, you have really nice depth of field. Um, and this fence leading you right up into showing you the balloon right there. Good. And nice late in the afternoon kind of lighting. In this one, maybe you could have done a little exposure compensation to the plus end so that maybe brighten it up just a little, just a tad. And very nice composition. And always very nice to be able to show the a wide shot that shows not only do you have the tight shots where you're showing the balloons up close, but now you've got this nice really wide shot to kind of show you where you are. So always very important. And then back to these exposure compensation shots. Okay, very nice. When you have a little bit of underexposure like this, it tends to saturate the colors, which is really very nice. Really, really makes things interesting. Okay, always good to show any of the graffiti, any details that might add to the story. And a very nice shot. Nicely composed in the sense of you get really the river as your main subject, and the horizon line being up a little bit higher than just at the midpoint. So that's really nice. You can see this one emphasizes the sky more and the river less because the horizon line down a little bit lower. Excuse me. And then this one, I like the angle where all the lines are leading right back here. And the trails of the car headlights, really nice. Beautiful exposure. Everything looks really, really good. Same thing here. And this is appears to be that same bridge that you were looking at a little bit earlier. I have this nice play of complementary colors of the blue and more of the yellowish look here. And then back down to the bridge underneath here. Okay, good. Okay, good. When you're shooting at f/16 here, you got nice depth of field. And more shots of the river there. So, and then being able to warm it a little bit really adds a different look to the picture. So, terrific. So, very nice job. Okay, now we're taking a look at Trish's. And I love, initially here, I see, you got your exposure compensations. So that's fantastic. We'll take a look at the photo details here. Okay, Canon 5D. Okay, yeah, so you're outside at ISO 3200, maybe just a little high for when you're shooting outside like this. But you can see, even though you're shooting at 3200, the 5D does really a nice job. But probably wouldn't need to shoot at 3200. But great that you were able to do the exposure compensation. Here you are at 100. That's great. I'm glad you're able to change your ISO here. Perfect. And I like that this is certainly an Ansel Adams kind of inspired kind of image with doing it in black and white. Okay, very nice. Yeah, so we talked about in the assignment foreground, middle ground, and background. Very nice. Okay, in terms of compositional elements, if you want to use the rule of thirds, if he's a little bit more centered like right here, what you might want to do is maybe compose it so he's like maybe over in this area right here, so that he has this expanse that he's looking out over. But otherwise, nice shot. Yeah, same kind of thing here. Maybe if you moved him over a little bit this way. But otherwise, plenty of nice detail here. ISO of 100, that's good. Okay, now the color version of this. And you can see this late afternoon sun, what nice things it does in terms of with the sand right there. But otherwise, your exposure looks very good. And interesting to see the black and white version and the color. So I like this a lot because it tells me that you were using a tripod, and you have this nice little blur going on right here too. That's suggests the motion going on. And beautiful color on this one. I like this a lot. And the fact that you composed it so that the horizon line's up a little bit higher there, that's very nice. And I love these black and white ones. Okay, good. Let's see if that's a black and white one. Okay. And with a subject like this really lends itself to black and white. And you might want to take a look at, in terms of composing, you got this little area right here. Maybe this area out here, maybe not quite as interesting, but this to me seems real kind of interesting right here. This right around the window there. And you can see this house is kind of more monochromatic as it is, with the light colored paint and then the wood. So the fact that you were doing the black and white really lends itself, does a nice job. This must be Fowles Park. Haven't been there for a while. Okay, yeah, ISO 200 for something like this, perfect. Okay. Okay, so I'm looking at the F number here too. Now with your 50 millimeter lens, to ensure that you're going to get everything in focus, you might want to shoot with an F number that's a little bit more towards like 8, 11, 16. But otherwise, nice shot. I especially like the black and white one, and I probably would have cropped off a little bit of the sky up there too. Same thing with this one. Really like the texture, but probably chop off a little bit of the sky. I love this one. This is, really nice kind of shot of St. Louis here. Let's see, ISO 100 and F19. So see this one right here too. Oh, this is great. I love this vantage point. Oh, and you see the looks like the balloon, maybe the balloons from the balloon race in the sky out there. Oh yeah, there you did mark it, balloon race there. Beautiful. Love that vantage point. And the stark contrast of this really makes this a very, very striking image. So very nice. And this also, love the angle on this. Haven't been to the City Museum for a long time, um, so not familiar with this particular uh, area. But boy, oh boy, really nice dramatic kind of shot. Like how you frame this now. You might have also shot another one where you get a little bit more, closer in on something like that. But love that vantage point. Oh, there you go. Beautiful. Looking up into it. Great. Very nice job. Thank you very much. Thanks, Trisha. Okay, now we have Sharise. Your landscape. Looking through your initial images here. I see. Aha, there's your exposure compensation ones. Okay, let's take a look here. Look very nice. Beautiful color. Take a look at your photo details here. Shooting with a Kodak Easy Share. Good. Very nice, moody, foggy shot. Nice how the tree frames the house there in the fog. Beautiful colors. Like here's your definitely your foreground, your middle ground, and then the sky being your background back there. Okay. Yeah, beautiful colors that you've had. Maybe you can crop off a little bit of the sky here, but or maybe get rid of this or Photoshop it out or something. Huh. Love the colors of this person with their leggings and standing up against the tree there. Definitely all kinds of compositional alternatives that you could do with that. And when you have something like this and your meter on your camera is reading the darkness of this, it tends to make these other areas go a little bit too bright. So this is perfect kind of a example of where you might want to shoot a couple different exposure compensation options. And this one, yeah, I love certainly the basin out there in front of the Art Hill there. But looks a little on the overexposed side. You could have, same thing with this. You can definitely make this underexpose this a little bit on these exposures here. This one, maybe not so much. This one looks like a pretty good exposure right here. That's good. Love this composition right here. This is very nice to have that in silhouette like that, and to have the trees kind of framing this. Maybe crop off a little bit of this area over here on this side. But otherwise, I love that silhouette and the path leading up to St. Louis there. And this is always hard to get sometimes especially when you're using, some cameras that might have trouble with shooting in lower light, like the Easy Share might have looked like it got a little bit on the grainy side there. Okay, and this one's good. Getting down by the river. I like the shadows on the sandbank there. And this is nice. When you have a shot like this, this might be good in black and white. Could try something like that out. Oh boy, this looks like maybe Mingo. Oh, you said Mermet Lake. I'm thinking like the Mingo Swamp area. Maybe that's down there in southern Missouri. But yeah, I like that a lot. You might want to check your lens. Sometimes when you get this kind of effect right here, it kind of maybe might have a little smudge on there. This one would be this is a perfect example of where you need to overexpose a little bit because you have so much white in the picture that you lose all the shadow detail here. So you might want to do a +1 or plus 0.7, something like that. And wow, love this. Very nice. So, but you probably could chop off a little bit of the sky because your area right here is really what you want to focus in on here with those lilies there. Okay, so it looks like you're out in Colorado now. Let's see. What does it say here? Maybe Colorado, but beautiful, beautiful colors. And sometimes when you have a shot like this, when you kind of split it in half like that, um, it's always tough to get your subjects to kind of like something like that. Now, something like this, um, yeah, very nice, where it kind of leads up into that area up there. Good. Same kind of thing here, where you've got basically the path leading you off into the distance. You definitely your foreground, middle ground, background. This might look really nice in black and white. Oh, and then here, these are the exposure compensations. Yeah, definitely this one. Very nice. Okay, yeah. So good job, Sherry, and thanks. Okay, so here we are with Sean's, and we'll kind of take a brief look through your shots here. Looks very nice. Love this covered bridge look here. Okay, so let's get into it here. Take a look at your photo details. All right, using a Nikon D50-100. Great camera. Okay, a little water feature here. Very nice that you shot a horizontal and a vertical. That's always really good to have when you're shooting these types of subjects. Make sure you get a little horizontal and vertical kinds of looking shots. And what a beautiful landscape, where you're up high and looking out over across this vast distance here. And this covered bridge. I believe I have been to this covered bridge myself too. So what a nice thing that they've preserved that bridge. So beautiful in terms of, especially since you got the complementary color thing going of red and green. That works out really nice. And very nice composition in terms of what you got right here. Being, looking right straight down the throat of the bridge there. And, as I look at something like this, if you ever have heard of HDR photography, I always think of to be able to show these timbers that are in the inside here. If you're familiar with the HDR stuff, for that to show up, that would really be pretty interesting. And this is, I like this, especially, big swath of this red color coming through there. Very nice. Kind of an abstract kind of shot. Worked out very nice. Okay, yes, good. This is very nice. Great color on this one. And also this one, just the texture of being able to have the corn, out in the field there. And this is very interesting, showing the very expanded depth of field in terms of this these rails here. Kind of an interesting pattern going back that way, and then being able to see everything in sharp focus, especially since you shot this at f/22 here, which is exactly the kind of thing that I was hoping people were going to be able to make those adjustments. And same kind of thing here too, where you've got your foreground and your background in focus. Really makes for interesting landscape kinds of shots here. Nice reflection, in terms of reflecting the sky and in the river here. Good, beautiful little gazebo here. Very nice. And same thing with the details. I hope this kind of thing where if you have the opportunity to be able to walk up and shoot a detail shot of something like that, how nice that would be. This is beautiful. I really love the reflection here. That's really quite nice. And your exposure and everything looking really good here. Okay, yeah, this kind of thing. Something like this, maybe crop off a little bit of the lower part right here, because you really want to emphasize the, maybe the barn here. This could be a really good black and white kind of shot. Okay, and then looking out in the river here, and also, shooting at f/22 here. being able to get everything in focus there. That's nice. Maybe, this is always kind of a tough thing to shoot. You've got such, dark areas and light areas, and so your exposure range is always tough to try and get that to match. This looks like a little bit, maybe you applied a filter, a warming filter or something on it. Oh, yeah. Oh, maybe this is the exposure compensation. Let's see. Yeah. So you can definitely see the three different looks that you get with these exposure compensations. And, very nice job. And great images. Thanks. Thank you very much, Sean. Okay, here we have Samantha's. We'll take a look at your exposure compensations here. Let's see what's going on. Okay. Take a look here. Look at the photo details. All right, you're using a Coolpix. Okay, so use the flash on this one. Okay, so okay, and so now I see where you're using your exposure compensation right here. And the -3. Okay, now this, you can see that this is pretty subtle from this going through here. Now this is and this is just a sense going through this, and this is probably what your bracketing on your camera might do for you. But here it is at 0, +3, and -3, and it's 0.3. Now you can make a more drastic look by going to maybe 2.0 or and that's what I was hoping you'd be able to do. But at least you show me that you do know where the exposure compensation is here, and that's what I'm really interested that you know about. So let's take a look at what you've got here. Okay, good. Okay, good. Okay, now whenever you're shooting greenery right here, this you could probably use, and you did right here, -0.3, but you probably could go -0.7 or -1 for something like that to get the and this is good that you use the this minus part, but you could probably push it a little further and get more saturated colors. So this is looking good. You did everything correctly there. Very nicely composed here. This is really good. You might have been able to use a little bit of minus here, but it's not necessary here. Okay, good. Yeah, same thing with this here too. Just a little on the minus side. Maybe makes the saturation of the colors a little bit better. This turned out just fine. And for being able to look in the woods here and reflected in the creek there, that looks just fine. Sometimes it can tend to look a little overexposed, but this one, since it's a little bit on the shadier side, you don't have quite as a stark contrast for your shadow details, and so you pick up some of those details in there much nicer. Something like this looks like a really interesting piece right here. Maybe you definitely want to see something like that in black and white. And great that you shot it at 800. Yeah, that worked out fine. Good. Now when you start to get more contrast like this, it's a little bit tougher. Because you lose a little bit of your details and things when you get into the shadows. And sometimes the highlights burned out. But your exposure here is definitely more towards for the highlight end. Now, and something like this worked out really nice. I probably would either move in a little bit closer. I probably think I would crop out this tree. I would have moved in a little bit tighter because those blocks certainly look interesting of whatever that was from, an old foundation or something. This is interesting too. Nice that everything, especially when you're shooting with a Coolpix, the lens itself has such a wide angle that just about everything's going to be in focus with something like that. And nice that you have this composition leading off of the frame here. And not a whole lot happening in this image right here, but this compositional element of this works to kind of hold it together. And this one too. When you almost split the picture in two, um, it's not as exciting as it could be as if you had put your horizon line up a little higher or down a little bit lower, depending on what you wanted to emphasize. Rather, if you wanted to emphasize the trees, you'd put your horizon a little bit lower. If you wanted to emphasize more of what's going on in the water, then you put it up a little higher. And you can see your horizon line here. This is very nice because your waters are more the thing that you want to take a look at, and the background not so much. Oh, good. I'm really glad you got in there, got in tighter on this kind of interesting looking foundation. And this looks like definitely a good candidate for black and white. This looks like a good candidate for black and white too. I like this a lot. You got these lines, these horizontal lines going on here, and then contrasting with the more vertical lines from the trees. And then the backlit leaves here, beautiful, beautiful, very nicely done. And a nicely balanced image itself. And these look really nice. The tree over here, a little bit, I think I probably would have just cropped more in for, something like this, because it seems to me that your picture itself is right in here and not so much of that, the tree trunk there. So, okay, good job. Very nice. Thanks, Samantha. Okay, now we have Michelle's. And looking through here, seeing your exposure compensations, seeing some things that look like they might be HDR, which is really nice. Great. And some selective color. Oh, there's some definitely HDR stuff. Okay, so yeah, I'll go back to the beginning here. Look at your photo details. Canon Rebel. Okay, f/22. Okay, yeah. So being able to do your exposure compensation, very nice. Love seeing that, just so that you know where, if you need to make those adjustments. Beautiful that you chose to turn this into a black and white, and very nicely done. I mean, just the only little minor comment, I probably would have burned down this edge just a little bit, just to keep your eye kind of focused in on this little area right in here. It's just maybe a little on the lighter side and takes my eye off there, but that's if you're just doing a little Photoshop stuff. This works out very nice too. You got this nice path leading you through the picture here. Same kind of thing, maybe burn off the edge, burn it down a little bit, just so keeping things in here, and maybe darken this little path right, in through here, kind of keeping you focused in a little bit more towards the center. And same kind of thing here, maybe darken the path a little bit, just to kind of give you the sense of this is where you want to follow. Good. This is really nice. This little darker area of the deck, keeps you definitely focused in, and the lines of the deck basically focusing you in on the fountain. And oh boy, I really like the black and white version of it too. Let's see. I think I probably prefer the black and white version. So very nice that you experimented with that. Yeah, this has a nice, where you swing into the picture here. And probably would have burned that down just a little bit on the trees right there. And love this as a black and white, but same kind of thing. Darken that a little bit right there. Burn that down. Maybe keep your emphasis right in through here. And love how the kayaks and the canoes kind of lead you down the line of the beach here. That's really nice. Oh, and when I was looking at this small, I thought maybe this was a selective color kind of thing, but I see here that it's just the multicolored. Oh, here it is. Aha. where you did the made part of the image black and white and then left some of it as color. Very nice. I always love that different little look to things. And this is interesting. Even though it's like in the center, there's a little certain something that basically lends itself to this particular image. And so definitely break the rules sometimes, especially when it feels like compositionally that this is what you really want to show. So this person out here, maybe just sort of the isolation of it, since they're right in the center of things like that. And this is nice. I think I probably would have just cropped this maybe a little bit off the edge over here so you didn't see this over here, but that you kept this consistent and this nice little silhouette of this bush here echoing the silhouette of the ducks in the water there. And something like this too. Maybe if you were doing, I'd love to see a little bit more detail right in through here. And then maybe burn this down over here. But, there's something good going on there. But exposure-wise, yeah, especially since you were doing some HDR stuff. This looks to be HDR. Aha, Photomatics, yep. Okay. Yeah, on this one, I probably wouldn't have put the tree right in the middle. Maybe put it off either side, just depending on seeing what it looks like. And love the clouds and the water. It has a little bit of the HDR look to it. Boy, oh boy, I love the detail in this fence, this gate. Very nice. Probably would have straightened it out a little bit. Just a minor thing. And then, of course, I'm kind of an HDR addict, so I always love the extra detail that you can get with something like this. So, beautiful job. And thanks very much, Michelle. Okay, so here we are with Lauren's landscape stuff, and I can see her exposure compensation right up here. Okay, good. We'll take a look at, we'll just get right into it here. Let's see. Take a look at the photo details. So you got a Canon Rebel T3. Good, okay. And we've got the +1 and the right on the middle and the -1. So perfect. This is a perfect example of where you could actually use maybe a little bit of the minus to, and you can see the difference right here on this one. It's a little bit darker exposure, better saturation. This is nice where you have the line of the water leading you further back into the picture. Interesting to have the bridge break up the sky portion right here. It certainly has a different feel. And then, of course, when you're shooting underneath the bridge there, out back towards that lake, same thing here. I probably would have cropped off the, just so that it's such a minor part of it, I probably would have cropped it out of there. And these look to be pretty similar. I do like this. I love the fact that you shot a vertical shot here. This is great. When you have a variety of options to shoot in a specific area, shooting vertical and horizontal can really be a great variety of images. And I really like this foreground and middle ground background here. The vertical of these reeds here, contrasting with a much more horizontal look back in the back there. Now this one is a +1. I probably would have gone 0 or -1, just to, because you have all this darker green, but hard to say when, unless you're actually there shooting. Okay, good that you've experimented with this +1 here. And definitely when you have all this brightness right here, the +1 definitely retains the shadow detail, in the darker areas of the picture. And very nice having this little strip of light where it comes in and illuminates the back of the bench there. Very nice. Same thing. Your ISO 3200. That's up there. Because you can see your exposure is 4,000th of a second, so you really don't need to be shooting that at that fast of a shutter speed. But you can also be adjusting your aperture down to f8, f11, something like that, to get more depth of field if you needed to. All right, yeah, same kind of thing. Really, probably don't need to be shooting at 3200 here. This one's a little fuzzy. Okay, this one too. When you're outside ISO 800, you can see how fast your shutter speed is, 4,000th of a second. Usually when you're outside, you don't need to be shooting at like 800 unless you're trying to stop some action or something. And because, definitely something like this, you want to have your, maximum depth of field, because you definitely have room to make some adjustments here for bumping this up to like 11, 16, something like that. And then your exposure could be, in the range of a 250th of a second, 125th of a second. So, but yeah, everything looks great. Just make sure that, you're aware that you're shooting at those higher ISOs. And that you could optimize it a little bit better. But otherwise, very nice job. Thanks. Thanks, Lauren. Okay, now we have Lee's work. And wow, some nighttime shots, daytime shots. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Okay, let's see what we got here. We'll turn on the photo details. Canon Rebel. Very nice. ISO 200. Terrific. Okay, in a situation like this, you got the plus 0.33. Beautiful color. And a nice kind of, it's a sunrise shot, and certainly a nice, to have this reflection in the water like that. Very good. And then when you have something like this, I love being able to, like something like this, shallow depth of field, sets off, things from the foreground so that all the sharpness in the background here is really emphasized. So in this case right here, shallow depth of field works really well. Okay, and things like this, sometimes when you have, this is perfect for like HDR maybe, so to where you can really bring out the sky and the subtleties of color. But when you have it, if it's a little bit too much like that, it seems to me that maybe the thing of interest would be right in this little area down here with it. Looks like this interesting red little bush and things going on down there. And the fact that you did the minus here, that's great. This is perfect because you've got all these darker colors going on here, and that really sets off the saturation. Love this one. This is beautiful. Love this shallow depth of field, because I know I was mentioning about the, shoot at f22 or whatever, but in a case like this, really, really brings interest to that whatever it is that's within that shallow depth of field. Okay, very nice. Love the fact that you did the minus exposure here. Really gives it a nice, rich look. Same thing here. This time exposure, 30th of a second. So you have, or excuse me, a third of a second at f11 gives you that nice shimmery motion look from water like that. That was beautiful. Yeah, in this case, maybe a little less sky. And if you brought this down to like normal exposure or maybe overexposed a little bit, maybe you can see some interesting kind of details in the water. It's always hard to tell. And the minus 0.67 EV, same for both of these shots, looks great. Love the fact that you're shooting these dusk and nighttime shots. Wonderful. It looks like Kirkwood Station. Very nice. 50th of a second here. Okay. These are the kinds of things where if you put it on a tripod, now I know it's in Kirkwood there it might be tough to put stuff on a tripod, but definitely to be able to show off, you get an extra sense of sharpness and quality when you put it on a tripod and you don't have any like, there's just a tiny bit of camera shake. Now in a case like this, you got your ISO at 400. You could boost that ISO up to 3200, get your shutter speed in the range of, something where you can easily hand hold it, and then you have something where it's got that sharpness that you want. This is nice. Love the graphic elements of this. Beautiful. This is also very nice like that a lot. And this one right here, you got your ISO. There you go. ISO of 800. F1.8, 100, or at 25th of a second. You get all this, it retains all that beautiful detail there. Great. Very nice. And this is very striking too. ISO 800, perfect. You get all these beautiful lights. It looks like Washington Avenue. Same kind of thing here. Love how you contrasted the buildings and with the fading light up in the sky there. That's really very nice. And you can see this one right here. You got it at 800. But your camera may have suggested that you shoot it at 20th of a second here. In something like this, you definitely want to be able to shoot at a faster shutter speed, get rid of that camera shake. Okay, yeah, I see you got this is nice and sharp, your 50th of a second. That looks good. I think I might have gone for this to be in focus instead of this, but that's a tough one to figure out right away. Okay, this is also very nice. 800. So definitely you could bump your ISO. When you're shooting these kinds of things, you could bump your ISO up to 1600, 3200. Give you a little bit more wiggle room in terms of shutter speed to be able to shoot. Yeah, same thing here. A little faster on the ISO. This is beautiful. Love the way you compose this. Very nice. If you straighten this up, so it's more vertical. And that's just because I'm picky about architecture stuff, but love all the colors and everything here. ISO 400. Looks very sharp, so that's a beautiful image. Love that a lot. This works also very nicely. And of course, something like this human interest kind of thing, I definitely would get in closer, maybe get the buggy, maybe contrasting with the cars, or there might be something interesting with this Jesus is Lord thing going on down here. I'm not really sure. Like this a lot, but it's got just a little bit of camera shake, it looks like. But nice graphic elements. Okay, Lee. Thank you very much. Very nice job. Okay, here we are with Larry's pictures. So we'll start right in here. We'll put in the photo information. Nikon D300. Wow, very nice image. Love this like little cabin up in the woods there. ISO of 200, 50th of a second, aperture 16, perfect. Same kind of thing here too. You got nice composition in terms of putting it in with the rule of thirds. That looks beautiful. And as does this. This is a very pleasing kind of image. You got this nice foreground, then middle ground, background kind of thing going on here with the different layers of trees. And also very nice, where you have this looks like a resort or something there along this river. Same kind of thing here too. ISO of 250. F16. Very nice. Everything's nice and sharp. Nice that you experimented with black and white. Love this one. Compositionally, very nice too. The darker end of things balancing out with a little shorter, white, lighter looking kind of thing. But then this is burned down a little bit, so it keeps your eye keeps your eye right in there. And I love that kind of warmish feel to the image here. This is a very interesting composition right here too, where I guess this is there's like a boat dock right here, and the lines basically leading you out to the river, and then you look up and you see the cabin up there. Very nice. Exposures and everything looking really, really nice. Okay, I love the fact that this turtle is right there. Maybe burn down the shell a little bit so that you get a little bit more highlight detail in there. I'm not sure, but this is very nice. This looks like a pretty imposing place. Not sure where that is. And great colors, great exposures here. ISO 400, perfect. This is very nice. I probably would have maybe burned this down or cropped it out. Love all this detail that's inside here. And maybe shaved off a little bit of this right here. I'm just being a little picky, but it's beautiful. This is really nice. I love the basically the variety of the shapes of these weeds and the trees and things in the background. Makes for an interesting abstraction look to it. Okay. This one, I was maybe thinking maybe there's a bird or something in here, but looks like maybe not. Okay. Kind of like I guess the color one better, only because you can see that there's just the nice little subtleties of these, whatever these are right here, those little yellow berry-looking kinds of things. And stuff like this is beautiful. But I think if you're working with Photoshop or Lightroom or something, I'd go in here and open up these shadows. It looks to me like there's all kinds of wonderful detail in there. And this is very nice. Like the colors in here, like how you've cropped it. That works out really well. And this is really very nice too. You got this nice lines of the trees leading you right back to your fisherman right here. Always like getting shots like this. This could be a nice black and white shot. Hard to say. Oh, and then it looks like you're doing your exposure compensations here. Aha, perfect. Yeah, so this is great. To be able to get your under and over kinds of shots here. Beautiful. And so that looks great. All right, Larry, thank you very much. Okay, Kelsey, if you could go in, I did send the request to see this album, but if you could open up the permissions on whatever it is, so that it's for public, so that I can see it, that would work out great. Okay. Okay, Jake, looking at your exposure compensation thing here. Let's see what you got. All right, interesting subject right here. Let's turn on photo details. Canon EOS 60D. Okay, very nice camera. This is real interesting right in here. I love this. Love the look of that. Oh, beautiful. Love the kind of warmish look of the sun here. Okay. And also like the look of the fence basically leading your eye up to the bluff up here. This looks to me like Klondike Park. And also right over here too. So very nice. Okay, now you got your, let's see, this looks like your probably exposure compensation. So you got your ISO right here at 100. That's good. This looks like you use the exposure compensation to do a +1 or +2. This one is very nice in terms of being able to show the maybe the harvested bean fields. I'm not sure if that's bean fields or not. Ah, here's the one that matches up with this one. Maybe that's more of the normal exposure. Looking good. Okay, and those clouds, very dramatic, very nice, to compose it that way. Yeah, definitely something, with something like this where you could, if you could burn those clouds down and get all the drama of the clouds, but still preserve the shadow detail. If you'd take it into Photoshop or Lightroom, you would probably be able to pull that off. And love this. I think I probably would have just cropped this part of the picture off over here because I love this little sign going, look that way. Beautiful. And very dramatic clouds, and with the crops right here, I think I probably would have gotten rid of the telephone pole there. I'm not sure. Love this one. Maybe would have come in a little bit closer, walked in or cropped in, because I think this might be unnecessary right here. But certainly the exposure and everything looks beautiful. This is beautiful also. All right. Good job. Good job, Jake. Everything looks good. Okay, David, taking a look at your landscape shots here. So we'll take a peek at some stuff here. All right. Okay, we'll jump right in. All right. Love this, your little logo down there. That's really nice. Very nice, dramatic kind of shot, especially since you got a little reflection going on with the in the lake or the river, whatever that might be. Very nice shallow depth of field here. We've got a Nikon D3100. Okay. Beautiful, beautiful colors. Same thing here. Beautiful colors. Love this kind of stark bare tree look. And when you split the picture in half like this, it tends to make it look a little bit on the static side. So looks like there's interesting trees down here. Probably would have cropped off a little bit off the top up here and maybe included a little bit more of the foreground in there. Love the fact that you shot the vertical shot here. That's really very nice. Always tough to shoot back into the sun. This is interesting. Love this little detail underneath the bridge. This is nice. Too bad I can't see more detail here. If you were, if you're working in Lightroom or Photoshop, you could use the shadow exposure, bring out a little bit more of the shadow area right there. But it seems to me that could be all kinds of really great detail in there. And same kind of thing here too. Maybe a little bit less of something, but I love the fact that you can see the river and the reflection on the river off into the background like that. It's very nice. And beautiful composition on this one. I love the rear illuminated leaves on this, and kind of leading down to this triangular composition right here. Beautiful. Very nice. And beautiful colors on this one. When you're shooting outside now, when you've got an 18mm lens, that tends to give you a depth of field with everything in there. But you probably could bump this up to 200, 400, and then be able to shoot instead of f3.5 something in the f5.6, f8 to ensure that your background's also and your foreground's going to be in focus. But beautiful colors. And just like with the other one, love how this composition, now you've got the sun, instead of being right in the center, you've got it over here. Get this beautiful sort of S-curve thing going on with the river. But I would love to see more detail in the shadows here. Okay. Posted private property. All right. Yeah, and this was beautiful in the sense of, you've put the horizon line up higher, de-emphasized the sky, but then here's all this beautiful detail down here. So I'm definitely, you get nice foreground, middle ground, background type of image. And love this one with the silhouettes. Um, Beautiful. This really works very nice. You got very nice abstract silhouette things going on here with these rocks in the water, counterbalanced by the um, the sky with that's almost monochromatic just all by itself. But this works really well. Beautiful, beautiful. And like the shallow depth of field here, to definitely pop out in sharpness these little shells. Okay, and this is nice. You got the river kind of meandering towards the back there, and a nice bare tree looking composition. And interesting how you have this kind of tilted. You didn't look straight down it, but it has this nice little angle, and then goes off this way. So very nice. I probably would have chopped off maybe a little bit of the top up here, but this might be a really nice black and white image too. Wow, this is gorgeous. Same kind of thing with Photoshop and Lightroom, to be able to bring down the highlights in this and bring out the subtleties of the colors up in the clouds up there. But just having the sun skim over this and then getting the full reflection here, gorgeous, gorgeous shot. This is fantastic. What a beautiful sky this one is. So, all right, keep going here. Okay, let's see. Is this your exposure compensation? Okay, no. So this one, not quite as exciting as the other one, but definitely could show off some shadow detail and burn down the highlights to bring that sky a little bit more drama. This is nice. This is nice how you have the trees framing the old railroad bridge there. Okay, this is very nice, like how you're looking up into the trees up here. Very nice. I might have cropped off this little area over here because I think these trees right here are the ones that are really the most important. And the fact that okay, so this is 6 seconds long here. So you put this on a tripod, that's beautiful, and you get this nice blur of the water. A gorgeous shot, and especially, compositionally, where you've got the dynamic tension of putting the archway over to the left here and having this little creek flow right at you with the really nice slow shutter speed. Very romantic, very kind of dreamy. Might make a really nice black and white image too. And this one, beautiful color. Love the color in here. This is fantastic. And I think I probably would have gone in and in either Photoshop or Lightroom and snapped up the mid-tone contrast, meaning like the clarity. If you've ever seen that thing called clarity, and you would have gotten just a little bit more detail up in here. I mean, that's just me being picky, but beautiful image. And very nice. Always looking for different kinds of perspectives on seeing these kinds of things. Aha, okay, so there's your exposure compensation. So yeah, you can definitely see the difference that adjusting the exposure makes there. And there, so this must be 0, and this +1, and -1. So great for throwing those in there. So very nice job. Thanks very much, David. Good work. Okay, Christina, taking a look at your work here. Okay, I can see your exposure compensations here. Let's dive right in here. Okay, always tough shooting back into the sun. Oh, let's turn on your photo detail here. So a Sony. Oh, the W370. Okay, good. Yeah, so when you're shooting into the sun, that's always a tough shot. And I see your exposure compensations here. So beautiful, beautiful. I'm really glad that you did that. just so it gives you an idea of what you might come across here. Also, this is also very nice to be able to see this. Beautiful. Really glad you did these exposure compensations. And you know, you can then like very nicely composed here where you have this little path leading off past the bench there. Okay, yeah, I like this. Um, yeah, and you can definitely see what the advantages would be for when you're shooting these different landscapes as to what that exposure like. And you can see in this one right here, the -2 is the best of all the exposures, and mainly because you have such a dark area in here with the dark green leaves. And same kind of thing here too. The -2, beautiful colors, saturation, and also the clouds up in the sky. Very nice. All right. Good job. Nicely composed images. And I'm really pleased that you went in and used you know, your exposure compensation on that whole series. So that worked out very nice. Thanks. Okay, Austin, taking a look at yours. Kind of taking a quick look here. Okay, I can see the exposure compensations. Okay, always love whenever you put a little S curve of you know, in a composition. Excuse me. It always adds to the interest. Let's see, shooting with a Rebel. Okay, your ISO 400. That's good. F20. That'll give you plenty of depth of field in a 60th of a second. Okay. Very nice. This worked out really well. Even though the trees are just a little on the overexposed side, your that little gazebo or the little pavilion there is definitely the right exposure here. Okay, this is very nice. Like how this little path meanders through your image there, and exposure and everything looks good. Okay, that also looks good. Love the fact that you included this motorcycle to kind of frame the picture itself. So that worked out nice. I like that. It's a little more effective framing the landscape. Maybe if you got in a little bit closer here and, you know, included more of the trees. This one, not so much, but so with this one right here, you know, in terms of like exposure, I probably would like to have seen more detail right here. So it's maybe a little on the overexposed side. And let's see, is that... so same thing right here. You have some nice, looks like little puffy clouds. You could probably have underexposed that a little bit to bring those out. Love the fact that you shot this nighttime shot with some stars up in the sky there. That's great. Beautiful. Got a little detail in the foreground there. That's great. Okay, let's see where you shoot. Okay, 400. Okay, it says camera make Nokia. Okay, so I always wondered about the Nokia camera phones. Haven't really had much experience with them. That looks very nice. This also looks really nice. Makes a beautiful image. And I'm not really sure, you know, how Nokia, if it gives you any kind of adjustments in terms of f-stops. And looks like it keeps this f-stop at f2 and adjusts the ISO and the shutter speed. This is very nice. Nice time of day to get this. Of course, yeah, you know, if you can go in here and get a little bit more detail, but boy, oh boy, the blue sky and everything, that looks beautiful up there. Oh, yeah. Oh, so here's your exposure compensation ones. Okay. Yeah, so the one that's right on the money, nice exposure right in here, but oh boy, I really like this -2 for the saturation and the beautiful sort of hues in the sky over there. So very nice. Good job. Okay, Alex, now we have yours. And let's take a look at what you got here. Turn on your photo details here. Nikon 5100. Okay, that's nice. It's always tough. It's nice that you don't have a real contrasty light coming in through here. You have this nice sort of open shade. ISO 320, f10, 1/60th of a second. Good. It's looking good. These exposures are looking good. This tends to get on the little contrasty side. Always a challenge when you have bright sun and then deep shade, which is what you're working in here. Okay, love that little lens flare like that from the sun. This is kind of interesting, you know, especially when you're doing things like this. This looks like it might make a nice black and white if you were working in Photoshop or Lightroom. And nice that you can work in a little bit more open shade for this one right here. So you have this interesting reflection from the bank into the water. I love how the clouds, or maybe trees, whatever, are shading this area. So it certainly keeps you focused right in on here. So that worked out very nice. Okay, yeah, once again, always tough to get that where you have bright sun and a darker shade. This looks like it could be a really nice black and white image. And there's that nice covered bridge. Hopefully you got a few more of that. Okay. Beautiful saturated colors here. These are really nice. This one, your eye gets a little bit drawn up into that lighter area up there. But this one, you can certainly see the difference between this and this in terms of the sky. The blue sky being basically keeping your eye focused back down here. And the fact that here you are shooting at f11, great that you're shooting at 100, and you get all this super depth of field. And then probably looking back the other way. Now, depending on which way you're looking on the tracks, you can see that you get the real pale sky looking in one direction, whereas you get the more saturated blue sky looking in the other. At least that's what I'm assuming here. Maybe not. I don't know. Hard to say. But when you get that blank sky like that, you might want to try some cropping in a little bit lower, so your eye doesn't go to that lighter color area immediately. Okay. Oh, so here's your exposure compensations, and so very nice that you did that. You can certainly see the differences between those. Good. Okay, good. Okay, Alex, very nice. Good job. Okay, Melissa, taking a look at your landscape shots here. Turn on photo details here. Canon Rebel, good. Very nice camera. Okay, I love how this, the creek kind of meanders off into the distance right here. Very nice. Looks like these are the exposure compensation ones. So, yeah, very nice. Nice contrast, nice light, nice kind of soft lighting. Love this path going off into the distance. That's has a real nice feel to it. Same thing here. So it looks like maybe you adjusted some color. I'm not quite sure, but warming it up certainly has a different feel to it. Okay, and here's your exposure compensations on those also. Okay. Yeah, very nice. Looks like you've got, let's see, what kind of, a little bit more zoomed in on this here. Interesting looking little barn there. Yeah, and your exposures and everything look really good on here too. Love how you cropped this one. Probably would have straightened out the horizon line a little bit. Um, this looks like a perfect candidate for HDR if you're doing that kind of thing, so you can see a little bit more shadow detail. Okay. Oh, this is beautiful. This would probably make a really nice black and white image too. Yeah, I like this one too. I love how you've been cropping them so that they're a little bit more, so you can chop off the bottom on this. This might look really good as a skinnier crop like you've been doing for some of these here. Okay, your ISO 200 f10. That works out really well. I'm seeing you're using the minus exposure compensation here. This is very nice. I love the fact that you got this foreground area right here and it kind of leads you back into where the barns are back there. Okay. This looks really nice. Has a nice kind of saturated contrasty look to it. And then maybe this is, okay, yeah, so you're doing exposure compensation on this, and so you can definitely see what's going on in terms of the look of the image by doing those. And so, at least it gives you an option as to what to pick when you're doing it. So, beautiful job, Melissa. Thanks very much.